It was a quiet gray morning on the edge of a small American town, the kind of morning where the sky feels heavy, like it's holding its breath. A single car rolled slowly down an empty road, a dark gray hearse, polished but worn with age. Inside sat an old man with tired eyes, his hands gripping the wheel tightly. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't running away. He was just trying to keep a promise. But fate had other plans that day. As he passed through the last traffic light, blue and red lights suddenly flashed behind him. A police siren cut through the silence. The old man's heart pounded. He pulled over to the side of the road, unsure what he had done wrong. The officer stepped out of the cruiser, his expression serious, his hand resting on his holster. He asked the men to open the back of the hearse. The old man hesitated, and that's when something terrible happened. Before we continue, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Action. We share real, emotional, and inspiring stories that remind us what truly matters: compassion, hope, and humanity. If this story touches your heart, please leave a like and a comment about a moment when kindness changed your day. Now, let's get back to the story. The man's name was Arthur Bennett, a retired carpenter from a small town in Ohio. He wasn't rich, but he was known by everyone for his gentle smile and helpful nature. For 40 years, Arthur had built furniture, fixed fences, and repaired porches for neighbors, often refusing to take any money. His wife, Mary, used to joke, "Arthur, one day you'll give away our house too." But Mary was gone now. She had passed away 2 weeks earlier after a long illness. The coffin in the back of the hearse wasn't just any coffin, it was one Arthur had built himself for her, with his own trembling hands. He couldn't afford a funeral home, Southwest He decided to drive her to the countryside cemetery where they had met as teenagers. He just wanted to say goodbye, privately, peacefully, lovingly. When the policeman stopped him, Arthur's heart sank. He thought he'd done something wrong, that maybe it was illegal to transport a body without permission. The officer, a young man named Officer Daniels, approached the hearse cautiously. He had received a call about a suspicious vehicle carrying a coffin. "Sir, I need you to step out of the car," the officer said. Arthur obeyed, his old hands trembling as he reached for the door handle. "Is there someone in the coffin?" the officer asked, his voice calm but firm. Arthur nodded. "It's my wife, Mary. I'm just taking her to the cemetery myself. She didn't want a big funeral. Just me and her." Officer Daniels frowned. "I'm sorry, sir, but I need to see for myself. Arthur's lips quivered. "Please, officer, it's all I have left of her." But rules were rules. Daniels walked to the back of the hearse. He gently lifted the lid. And that's when the terrible thing happened. Arthur collapsed. His heart, weakened by grief and stress, gave out. He fell to the ground beside the car. For a second, everything froze. The officer's mind went blank. He dropped to his knees, calling for backup, starting CPR right there on the side of the road. "Come on, sir, stay with me. Breathe," Daniels shouted, pressing rhythmically on Arthur's chest. Minutes felt like hours. The ambulance arrived, sirens wailing. Paramedics worked quickly, but Arthur was unresponsive. He was rushed to the hospital, leaving the officer staring at the open coffin, his heart heavy with guilt and confusion. That night, Officer Daniels couldn't sleep. He kept seeing Arthur's face, the sadness, the gentleness, the devotion in his eyes. He found out later that Arthur survived, but barely. He was in critical condition. Daniels went to visit him in the hospital the next morning. When he entered the room, Arthur was awake, weak but breathing. He looked up and smiled faintly. "I'm sorry," Daniels said softly. "I was just doing my job." Arthur shook his head. "You don't have to be sorry, son. You were just being careful. The world needs careful men." Daniels swallowed hard. "I didn't know. I didn't know she was your wife." Arthur smiled again. "She was my everything." His voice cracked. "All I wanted was to take her home one last time." The officer felt something shift inside him, the weight of all his rushed judgments, all the times he'd treated people as suspects before seeing their hearts. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a photo of his own family, his wife and 2 little girls. "Mr. Bennett," he said, "I'll help you finish what you started." 2 days later, when Arthur was released, Officer Daniels drove the hearse himself. He helped carry Mary's coffin to the small grassy hill behind the old church. The autumn leaves were falling gently, painting the ground in shades of gold and red. There was no crowd, no preacher, just two men standing in silence. Arthur whispered, "Thank you, officer." Daniels put a hand on his shoulder. "No, sir. Thank you for reminding me what love looks like." Weeks passed, but the story didn't end there. Word spread through the town about the old carpenter, his handmade coffin, and the policeman who helped him bury his wife. Neighbors came together to honor Arthur and Mary. They raised funds to build a bench near her grave, engraved with the words "Kindness lives beyond the grave." Arthur visited the bench every day until his final breath a few months later. And every time Officer Daniels passed that cemetery on patrol, he'd slow down and smile. He had learned something that day, that behind every stranger's story is a lifetime of love, loss, and hope. In the end, kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about stopping when others drive by. It's about seeing pain behind someone's eyes. It's about being human, even when duty says otherwise. So the next time life gives you a chance to show compassion, take it. Because you never know, your small act of kindness might just change a life, or even save one. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Kindness Action and share this video with someone who needs a little light today. Remember, kindness is never wasted. It always finds its way back.